Welcome back to Category of One. I'm Marissa Brassfield, and today I'm with Michelle Seiler Tucker, known as the USA's top closer and the preeminent expert if you need to fix, grow, buy, or sell your business. She's a venture capitalist and the founder and CEO of Seiler Tucker. She's also a two-time best-selling author, speaker, TV, and radio host, and her book, Exit Rich, The 6P Method to Sell Your Business for Huge Profit, comes out June 22nd. Oh my goodness. It is so wonderful to have you on, Michelle. Welcome.
Thank you, Marissa. It's a pleasure to be with you. I love your background. It's making me homesick for California.
Well, and I love that we both decided to wear red today without coordinating.
Yes. Well, I wear red every day until my book comes out.
Oh, that's fantastic. Brand distinction number one in moment, 6 seconds into the show. I love it. Beautiful. Well, I'm really excited to get into the book, to get into your backstory. Let's start off. I'd love to know what's your favorite deal. And I imagine it must be hard to pick, but what's your favorite deal today?
It's like I said, it's like picking your favorite child. I've been in this industry a little over 20 years. I've personally sold over 500 companies. My firm has sold altogether about 1,000. So it's very hard to say what is my favorite deal. I'll tell you what's one of my best deals as far as getting a higher price for my client. And I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite, but it's one of my highest prices as far as average goes. So typically, we close 98% of all offers we write. We get our clients 20 to 40% higher selling price for their business. But we had a oil manufacturing business we were selling, and they had 65% concentration in BP, 65, 70%. We appraised it for $9.8 million. We had about 550 buyers. We narrowed it down to 12 letter of intents. The problem is that all of those buyers were extremely concerned with customer concentration, as they should be, because when you build your infrastructure, you want to make sure you have customer diversification, not customer concentration. So every one of their offers had contingencies, clawback phrases, et cetera, tied to that BP contract. And my seller said, I was like, well, I don't like any of those. So I found a strategic that has similar products and services and didn't really care about customer concentration because they've been trying to get into BP for about 20 years and they've been trying to get their products there. So they said, look, we don't care about that. We want to get our products in front of BP. So we'll pay more than everybody else. So they literally gave us an offer for $15 million for 70% of the business, which is 126% more than what the business appraised for.
Not too shabby.
Yeah. So, is it my favorite? I love it when I can get my clients more. So that makes it one of my favorite.
That's beautiful. How did you get into the business?
So I've always been an entrepreneur. I own multiple companies. I've always owned multiple companies in different industries. I've always been interested. I have my interest. My interest is entrepreneurship. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I can't wait to find out how a business owner started their business. And, we have a client right now that started their business from a pickup truck selling products and on an 8th grade education. And we're selling his business in a $70 million range. So I love entrepreneurship. I love writing. I love people. And I knew I was always going to do something around entrepreneurship, people, and writing. So like I said, I've owned many different businesses. I did start a franchise development, franchise consulting, and a franchisor partnership program. And I had that company for several years. And I had a lot of clients that kept saying, or buyers that kept saying, I don't want to buy a franchise. I want an existing business. And I kept saying, no, but I'm a law of attraction type of person. I'm like, I should be saying yes, yes, yes. I need to change this. And that's really how I started my M&A from almost over 20 years ago.
That is amazing. And I share your interest in the backstory and, all of the entrepreneurial journey and the transformation that people can make, not just for the people and clients that they serve, but in their lives, in their communities, in their families' lives. simply because they had the boldness and audacity to run with an idea and go for it.
Right. Well, life is short. You only live once, so you need to maximize it to your fullest capacity. But I learned, very quickly when I transitioned into mergers and acquisitions, that 80% of businesses don't sell. According to Steve Forbes, 8 out of 10 businesses will never sell. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I don't start to fix them, grow them, put them on a build to sell model, then I'm going to starve to death. So a long time ago, I started fixing businesses, and I can spot a business very quickly. And I can tell you probably within 5 minutes what's wrong and what we need to fix. And so I started really fixing businesses, partnering with business owners, investing my time, resources, capital, in which to fix those businesses and put them on a build to sell model. And buying businesses, flipping them, selling businesses, and merging them. So we really specialize in buying, selling, fixing, growing.
That's beautiful. And we're going to talk about your ideal client profile a little bit later, but I'm curious, 80%, why is that?
So there's many, many, many reasons for that. And again, that's not my statistic, that's Steve Forbes, and it's true. But one of the number one reasons is because business owners, they don't think about their business. They don't think about selling their business. They think about their business as their baby. They don't think about selling it. They really don't think about selling it until a catastrophic event has occurred, whether that's internal or external health issues, burnout, partner dispute, divorce, death. External is this pandemic we're in. The worst time to sell your business is during a catastrophe. And a lot of times business owners will all of a sudden, they be in business for 20, 30 years and are like, oh, I want to sell my business. Well, you haven't built a business that's sellable. And it's certainly not sellable for the price tag that you need to retire or enter the next phase of your life. And that's a big issue because a lot of owners will come to me and say, I need to sell my business. I'm like, well, what's your price? What's your desired price? And they'll say, oh, I want $20 million. Okay, let's look at your EBITDA. Have an EBITDA cash flow of $100,000. You're not going to sell for $20 million. Like, how did you come up with $20 million? Well, that's what I need. That's what I need to retire on, or that's what I need to travel the world, or that's what I need to, pay for 5 girls' weddings, whatever the case might be. The owner's perspective of what they think their business is worth is not based upon the value of the business. It's based upon what their needs are moving on. And buyers don't care what you need. Buyers care about the value that it brings them. So there's a huge disconnect. And business owners really have to start with the end in mind. It's like Stephen Covey says, start with the end in mind. Business owners really need to start planning their exit from the beginning. And we really walk our clients through what I call the GPS exit model. And we can go through that now if you like, but I think it's really imperative because think about this. When you want to drive somewhere in California, what do? You pull out your phone, you go to Google Maps, and what's the first thing you plug in?
Where we're trying to go.
Your destination. If you don't have a destination, where do you end up?
Aimlessly driving around, stuck in traffic.
Or nowhere, or in your driveway, right? And that's what happens to business owners. They don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So business owners are driving around in circles, driving up and down the financial hills because they don't have a destination. They think, oh, I'm going to run my business forever. Well, I'm here to tell you nothing lasts forever. I just had a sweet little old lady call me the other day. Her husband dropped dead of a heart attack, left her with a mountain of debt. And she says, I don't know anything about the business or the finances. Can you sell it? No, I can't sell it because he has no people, which is one of the P's in the 6 P's. He has no people. He had all subcontractors and all the data's in his head. When he died, the business died. So that's what we want to avoid. So the first thing the business owners need to figure out is, what is my destination? What is my end game? What is my desired sales price? And everybody gets hung up on a number, Marissa. And I'm like, just pick a number. You can change it along the way. So let's say you want to sell for $20 million. Boom, we got a number. Now, what does the GPS exit model need to know? It needs to know where you're starting from. What is your current location? In other words, what is your current evaluation? And Marissa, most business owners have no idea what their business is worth. Most business owners never get a business evaluation until they think about selling. And that's financial suicide. We go to the doctor once a year to get an annual checkup. We take our car to the mechanic once a year to make sure that we get a tune-up, but we don't take our most prized possession, our most prized asset, our most valuable asset, which is our business, and we don't get an annual valuation checkup. That's financial suicide. You should have an annual valuation checkup every single year because there are events that increase valuation and there are events that decrease valuation. You need to know what your business is worth every year. So let's say you want to sell for $20 million. Let's say your business is worth $5 million today. The next thing you need to know is, well, what's my time frame? So let's say you want to sell in 15 years. Boom, we got a plan. But the next thing that the plan needs to know is, okay, who are my buyers? Who will my buyers be? And you notice I said buyers because a lot of clients come to me and say, Michelle, I have the buyer. I just need you to represent me with this one buyer. And I'm like, nope, won't do it. And I go, what do you mean? No, because there's so much work involved. I have to go look at your business. I got to evaluate your business. I got to evaluate to see if you're running all 6 cylinders. I got to help you fix it. I got to tweak things. I got to get your financial house in order. Now I got to get all the stuff for due diligence, put it in a data room, and then start working with the buyer. What happens when that buyer decides not to buy your business? We did all that work for nothing because you have no backup buyers. Plus, how can we maximize value if we can't create competition with a party of one? So you need buyers, not buyer. There's 5 types of buyers. Most business owners don't know this. 90% of buyers are first-time buyers. They don't buy $20 million companies. So if you're trying to sell a multi-million-dollar business, you're not going to sell to 90% of the buyers. They buy ice cream stores and coffee shops and small businesses. Second type of buyer is turnaround specialists. They buy distressed assets. They don't pay millions of dollars for distressed assets. Third type of buyer is private equity group. So let's say you got a private equity group. Private equity groups buy 2 ways, platforms, add-ons. Let's say you're in Hollywood, so I'm going to use the entertainment industry. Let's say that a private equity group wants to get into the entertainment industry and they're looking for a platform. They won't even look at the company for less than $3 million in EBITDA. EBITDA is earnings before interest, depreciation, amortization, and interest. Okay. So if they're already in the entertainment business and they're looking for little small add-ons, then they'll consider that business for less than $1 million of EBITDA. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
The fourth type of buyer is strategics and competitors, and they typically pay the highest multiple because they're buying synergies that will help catapult their current business to the next level, such as the case study I gave you about the buyer for the oil manufacturing business. He was buying the BP relationship, the BP contract. So they look for synergies, plus they look for economies of scale. What can they take advantage of so they can decrease overhead, increase EBITDA? The last type of buyer is the sophisticated serial entrepreneur that is industry agnostic, that chases EBITDA. So if you're trying to sell for $20 million, Marissa, it's going to be one of those 3 types of buyers. And now you have to reverse engineer your plan and say, okay, if I'm trying to sell for $20 million, where's my gross revenues need to be? My COGS, my operating expense. Most importantly, where's my EBITDA need to land? If you're trying to sell for $20 million, you have to have an EBITDA between $3 million to $4 million, depending upon your synergies. Then the next step is, what synergies are these buyers willing to pay more money for? What is their buying criteria? How do I build my business to meet their specific criteria? It's kind of like when somebody starts a business and they're like, here's my widget. Here's my target market. And I'm building everything for this target market. Same thing with your business. Your business is your product, and you're building it to sell for maximum value to one of those 5 types of buyers.
Amazing. I love it. I'm so curious. So as you're riffing, how has the landscape of buying and selling businesses changed in the last year and a half?
So 2020 was definitely challenging for a lot of advisors. We still had deals that went through, but a lot of buyers and sellers were on a wait and see. Let's wait and see what's going to happen with this. And it really depends upon what industry that we had deals in, because, a lot of industries took a bath while other industries did really, really well. So we did have activity in 2020. It wasn't near as big as activity in other years. And in 2021 has been really good because there's so many industries and so many businesses that have had the best year they've ever had. And they're like, oh, we want to sell, which is smart, because you should sell when your business is up and doing great. You sell when you're in your prime. And then there's so much activity in M&A right now because there's so many buyers fighting over different businesses, kind of like the real estate industry. And buyers, there's more buyers for those businesses that have over $1 million in EBITDA than there are for buyers under $1 million in EBITDA. I always say there's more buyers for good businesses than there are good businesses to buy. So M&A activity is really, really, really good right now. In fact, it's so good that it's a little concerning, because the private equity groups and strategics have so many, especially private equity, they have so many deals in front of them, and they have so many deals in the pipeline that they're taking a while to get to other deals. Like, we have several pegs looking at our deals, and like, be patient, bear with us. We got 5 deals we're closing on. Like, well, hurry up and close. So there's a tremendous amount of activity, but the bottleneck is that there's so many deals in the pipeline right now that it's causing a delay.
How fascinating. So you mentioned the $1 million in EBITDA. What are some of the other qualities of some of the best businesses to buy and sell right now?
So the best qualities is businesses that have the proper infrastructure and operate on the 6 cylinders. Rather you're buying or selling, you need to pay attention to the 6 cylinders, to the 6 Ps. Do you want me to take you through those real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
So one of the biggest reasons that businesses are not sellable, other than business owners haven't planned their exit and built a sellable business, is that one of the biggest reasons is that the business is tied to the business owner. The business is 1,000% dependent upon that owner. The owner has built a glorified job in which they go to work at every day versus a business that actually works for them. Example, dentist just came to us, been in business 50 years, 1 dentist, 3 dental hygienists. The dental hygienists are his daughters. And I said, look, I can sell your business, but I can't maximize value because you and your family are the business. And I said, we can sell it, but the business is going to be dependent. The price is going to be dependent upon you and your daughter staying, and there will be clawbacks, earnouts, etc., in the closing documents to ensure that. And he said, well, honey, we're not staying. I said, well, then, honey, you're not selling. So the number 1 P is people. There are so many businesses that are really dependent upon the owner, especially in the services and service industries. So you want to make sure that you focus on your strengths. Entrepreneurs have to stop working in their business. Stop working in your business. Work on your business. Focus on your strengths. Hire your weaknesses. Put the right people in the right seats. And Marissa, ask the who question. Who opens the doors? Who handles customer service, marketing, technology, manufacturing, logistics, environmental, etc.? The clue is that you should never be next to the who. I know it sounds simple. You don't build a business. You build people. People build a business. So
Tell that. I mean, that was like a big moment for the entrepreneurs here who are still very much in their day-to-day and in the weeds. Listen up.
Well, it's true because, I mean, Marissa, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. And you'll never be able to grow your business. You'll never be able to grow your business if you don't build the right team. You don't build a business, you build people. People build the business. The problem with entrepreneurs, because I'm one of them, we're all one of them, is we're control freaks. We think, if you want it done right, you have to do it yourself. That can't be further from the truth. So you'll never grow unless you let go of the control. You'll never grow unless you let go of the control. And I don't say hire people and never look at anything because that's how embezzlement happens. You must always inspect what you expect, trust, but verify. But you have to hire the right people and empower them to make the right decisions. So the second P is product. When I wrote my very first book in 2013 called Sell Your Business for More Than It's Worth, I did the research and learned that 95% of all startups between 1 to 5 years will go out of business, right? We all know that. That's common sense. But when I wrote Exit Rich in 2019, I was flabbergasted because the business landscape has flip-flopped. Only 30% of startups will go out of business now. Only 30% of startups will go out of business now. Out of 27.6 million companies, those businesses that have been in business 10 years or longer, 70% of them will go out of business. 70. It used to be if you're in business 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 years ago, then you're going to be in business forever. That's not the case. You hear about the big public companies all the time. Toys R Us in business 75 years goes out of business. Steinmart, Kmart, Pier 1, GNC is closing down 900 locations. Starbucks is even, I've heard, is in trouble. Disney Store is closing. And the list goes on and on. But what the media doesn't tell you about are the private businesses, because that's not newsworthy. Private businesses on every street corner, in every state, in every town, in every state across our great country, these business owners are exiting poor. They're selling for pennies on a dollar, or even worse, closing their business and or filing bankruptcy. And that's really sad because these business owners, these baby boomers, have made huge sacrifices along the way and poured their heart, their soul, their energy, their money into their business. And they need to exit rich, not poor. So product, the number one reason why businesses are now going out of business after 10 years is because of the lack of aim. AIM. Aim is always innovate and market. Business owners stop innovating. Toys R Us did nothing new in 75 years. Blockbuster saw Netflix, had an opportunity to purchase Netflix. They did nothing and went out of business. So product is the second P. This is where a lot of business owners make a mistake. You can't do things the way you've always done. You're either growing or dying. There is no in between. Product is huge. So you need to ask yourself, is your product on the way up or on the way out? Your product, your industry, your service. Do you have an Amazon and you're up here? If you are, you should be selling. Or do you have a Blockbuster and you're about to go bust? And the other issue too is that a lot of business owners have one profit center. Look at a restaurant. They generate income by people coming in, eating at the restaurant, or taking food to go. What other profit centers do they have? None. So you really got to build multiple congruent revenue streams.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So a lot of our listeners are business owners who are looking to sell someday, but some of our audience is looking to buy businesses. And I'd love for you, I want to talk about Exit Rich. So I'd love for you to talk about the book, but and in doing so, what can people who are looking to buy a business, what are they going to learn in Exit Rich?
So the concepts that I've been talking about right now, you talk about the people looking to buy or people looking to sell about Exit Rich?
Well, I do want to hear about the book as a whole, but we haven't spent as much time on the buy side. So perhaps let's be there for a little.
So on the buy side, what's really important for buyers, first and foremost, most good businesses that are for sale are not going to be just open on the market. They're going to be with advisors. They're going to be with mergers and acquisitions advisors. I mean, that's why private equity groups email us, call us on a regular basis, because they know we hold the gold. They know we have the businesses for sale. So first and foremost, you need to find a good advisor to see, help you determine what you want, but to see if they have anything. If not, they can go find something that you would be interested in. But when buyers are looking at businesses, buyers too must really evaluate businesses on the 6 Ps that we're talking about right now. The infrastructure goes both ways. You will get more money from the sale of your business if you operate on all 6 Ps, on all 6 cylinders, which is people, product, processes, proprietary, patrons, and profits. As far as from the buy side, you also want to look at the 6 Ps, because do you want to buy a business that has no people? I don't think so. Do you want to buy a business in an industry that's dying and not thriving? I don't think so. When you look at a business to buy, do you want a business that is sustainable, that you can scale? So you want to make sure that they have processes that are productive, efficient. You want to make sure that they have systems in place. You want to make sure that they have policy and procedure manuals, SOP checklists. You want to make sure it's a well-oiled machine. Then you want to look at their proprietary when you go to buy a business. On the sell side, it is the highest multiple, highest value driver, because proprietary assets are synergies. They will get you more money for your business than anything else. On the buy side, you want to look at this business and go, okay, well, how well branded is this company? Does this company have trademarks? But are they protected? Do they just have a state trademark, or do they have a federal trademark? Because many businesses will receive a cease and desist letter after being in business 5, 10, 15 years, because they have a state trademark in California, but they never checked the federal database, and they never got a federal trademark to protect their company name, to protect their company brand, to protect their podcast, to protect their IP, their intellectual property. Buyers also want to evaluate a business based on proprietary. Do they have any patents? Contracts. Depends on what the buyer is looking for. Contracts are extremely valuable. Most buyers will pay more money for businesses that have contracts in place, because that's guaranteed revenue, guaranteed income, especially if it has a subscription model with recurring revenue. But buyers, beware. Be very careful and make sure that you look at the contracts, because if you're planning on doing an asset sale, not a stock sale, you want to make sure that that owner has a 2-sentence transferability clause, that those contracts are transferable to your new entity. If not, they'll have to approach to clients and see if to do a consent to transfer. I can tell you, being in business 20 years, I've never met an owner that actually has a transferability clause. So databases are another thing that buyers should look at, because databases hold a huge value. You want to make sure the IP is protected. You want to make sure, when you buy the business, are you getting the IP? Because there's been situations where the IP was not included, and the buyer didn't know. So you want to make sure, because a lot of times there's separate corporations that will hold the IP. So you want to make sure you're getting all that IP, right? And then databases, are really big. I mean, Facebook paid $19 billion for WhatsApp. They had 1 billion users. So buyers are really looking for those synergies. What will help catapult their business to the next level? We also work with buyers to see if they can take advantage of economies of scale to decrease overhead. And the other thing that we work with buyers on is their infrastructure. Like, we're selling a manufacturing business that has a distribution center, but our buyer that is in manufacturing has distribution centers all over the United States. The first thing they're going to do is cut this $5 million $5 million distribution center, so that they can decrease overhead and increase costs like that. Buyers want to look at the financials. Customer concentration. So the 5th P is patrons. A lot of businesses follow the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the revenue comes from 20% of their clients. There's customer concentration. That can be very risky. So I'm not saying don't do it, because I sell lots of businesses with customer concentration. I got one right now. It's got a 70% concentration. But you really want to look at that customer concentration. You really want to make sure that you're mitigating your risk. You really want to find out, dig deeper, find out why do they have so much customer concentration. If they lose that big customer, can they replace that customer easily? Can they get more revenue in here quickly? Can they pivot? And then obviously the financials. The last P is profits. But you really want to look at the financials. And you want to make sure they're accurate. You want to look at the P&Ls, the balance sheets, the general ledgers, the cash flow statements, all of those financials, and really do your due diligence on those financials. It's good to request audited financials, but a lot of business owners don't have them.
A lot to think about, and which is no doubt why people just go to you and Seiler Tucker. So I'd love if you could share who is your perfect fit for folks who are wanting to work with you and the team.
So I don't think there's anything such thing as perfect.
Fair.
Because I don't think there's a perfect business, because they all, like I always say, they all have hair on it. And, that's another thing is if you're looking to sell a business, you want to make sure your advisor knows the good, the bad, the ugly, so that they can help you be transparent. And if you're buying a business, you want to make sure you know all the skeletons in the closet, because there are typically skeletons in the closet. So perfect business, like I said, there really is no such thing as a perfect business. Let's talk about on the sell side. On the sell side, my firm typically works with businesses that have an EBITDA of $1 million and up. Now we do work with smaller type businesses, but that's our sweet spot, because we have so many buyers. I mean, I can bring hundreds of buyers to your business if you have over $1 million in EBITDA, creating a bidding war for you. But we do take smaller businesses, but that is our sweet spot. As far as a partner side, that's a whole different ballgame, because if I'm going to partner with somebody, it's like marrying someone. Everybody's on their best behavior when they're dating. Have you ever watched The Profit with Marcus Lemonis on CNBC?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Yeah. So he partners with these business owners, but do they ever listen to him? Do they ever do what he tells them to do? No. So on the partner side, for me, I got to know that they're going to listen. I got to know that I can grow the owner beyond the business. You will never grow the business beyond the owner. Got to grow the owner. And it's got to be in a certain niche for me. It's got to be something that's unique. I'm not going to partner in a restaurant. I love my restaurant owners. Don't get upset with me, but I'm going to partner in a restaurant business because it's not unique to me. I want something that services a niche, something that's different.
That's great. And I know that you have some special content for people who purchase Exit Rich before its sale or before it goes live on June 22nd. Can you tell us about that?
For your listeners, yes. So Exit Rich, let me just tell you a little bit more about Exit Rich. Exit Rich is endorsed by Steve Forbes. It's a gold mine for entrepreneurs as they leave way too much money on the table. And my co-author is Sharon Lechter, who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. She's a CPA, financial literacy expert, and the advisor to many different presidents. And the original shark on Shark Tank wrote the foreword, Kevin Harrington. So that's Exit Rich. You have glowing testimonies from like Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, Les Brown. But anyway, the launch date is June 22nd. And if you go to exitrichbook.com for $24.79, which is less than Amazon, we will email you the digital download so you can start reading Exit Rich today. We'll ship the hardcover to your doorstep for no additional shipping cost. Anything outside the U.S. is additional shipping cost, of course. And we will give you a lifetime membership into the Exit Rich Book Club, where there's lots of video content and me taking deep dives in different strategies and techniques on what I've been training on for the last 20 years in the industry, plus documents to operate your business, documents to sell your business, sample policy and procedure manuals, sample employee handbooks, non-competes, sample letter of intent, purchase agreements, due diligence checklists, and closing docs. All these documents will cost you over $50,000 if you want your attorney to recreate. They're there for your review, your download, and your use. Plus, we'll give you a 30-day free trial or just free access to Club CEOs, which is an entrepreneurship mastermind where we do Q&As, hot seats, and really help business owners solve problems so they can pivot and build that sustainable, scalable, sellable business, all for $24.79 at exitrichbook.com.
Amazing. That is exceptional. Thank you so much, Michelle. I know that listeners are going to jump because I know I'm going to right after.
That's a tremendous value for $24.79. I mean,
I would say so. Any final words of advice for our entrepreneurs and business owners listening right now?
I always say for entrepreneurs, relationship capital is everything. It's not always what you know, it's also who you know. And if you want to be successful, hang out with successful people. Find a mentor, but not just any mentor. Choose somebody, select someone that's been down the path that you want to travel, because they will shorten your learning curve dramatically. They will shorten your path dramatically. I always say it's hard to read the label from the inside of the bottle. You need an outsider's perspective to read the warning signs and keep you out of the danger zone.
Beautiful. Michelle, thank you so much for your time today. I have just loved getting to know you and benefit from your wisdom. And I can't wait to hear the responses from listeners who are consuming the book and all of the free resources that you've generously provided. Thank you so much. Best of luck with the book launch. And we're so excited to follow your journey.
Thank you so much, Marissa. It's a pleasure being with you. Thank you.